how insane would it be for the director to be like looking like that pregnant woman, find that child. It's such a I'm prepping for the movie. We need the kid remember that background actress? Give me that kid. That person would be fired.
I just thought, oh, that's so fun. That's so interesting. Please welcome to the stage. He's here. He's Scheer. Get used to it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Paul Scheer.
Hey. What's going on?
Hi. Thank you for being here. Good to see you, too. All right.
Let's go. Let's do this.
You have a new memoir.
I do. Yeah. It's called Joyful Recollections of Trauma. And it was a New York Times bestseller. I have to say that now because I feel like I worked so hard on it. I gotta at least say it every single time I talk about my book.
Was it worth excavating your deepest and darkest memories to get on the Times bestseller list?
You know, here's the thing. I don't view this book as therapy. So it's a reflection of therapy. So it's like I wasn't like I gotta sell my soul to get on this list. It was actually something that I felt like empowered to write. Like I didn't know I was going to write it. I thought I was going to tell like funny stories that I've been telling on how did this get made. And as I started writing those stories, I was like, well, there's actually something more here. And I've read a lot of books that feel like it's just like a journal from a therapy session. And I'm like, I can't be that. But I want to be able to be like honest and tell something and be funny at the same time. And I feel like in that way, I was able to release it into the world and then be okay with it. It wasn't like, oh my God, what have I done? You know, I was remembering like my parents are alive. I must not say things that their friends will take and then drive into them, which is, these conscious thoughts. My wife is someone that people know. Like I have to, there was a part of it that was like, I was aware of what I was doing. And I think sometimes I tried to be responsible memoir.
Do you think, we wrote a book and it was hard. Oh,
it's hard.
It's so hard. But our book wasn't, I mean, we had little fun stories about politics, but it wasn't deeply personal. It wasn't revelatory about our human spirits. But we got like notes. You get notes from editors and others. How do you get notes? Like, how do you get feedback on a book that's so personal?
I think that you don't, in a weird way. Like, right? Because I think there's an element where people are like, you want to write it? Put it in the book. Like, you know, they can't be like, make that ending different. Make that person a killer. You know, like they can't change it. And really what I did is I wrote the book. They gave me not notes like, oh, we need this. It's like, oh, maybe we combine these two chapters. And it was really my own sense. I spent like 2 months in the revision mode, too much to their chagrin, of just trying to like get it to what I really wanted it to be. Because I don't think there's anyone there to stop you. And I think that's where it gets dangerous. It's like, because it's like, I wrote things when I was angry. I wrote things that I was like, yeah. And then I'd read it back. I'm like, do I want it? It's forever out there. It's locked in amber. And I'm telling these stories and I'm like, how can I walk that line of being truthful, personal, real, and funny, but also not in a way like, just the consequence. I understand consequences. Like, you know, you do because I feel like these books are like, the worst actor I ever worked with, Nick Nolte, that piece of shit. And it's like, and then you see Nick Nolte like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. It's like, you did. You had many times. You did the audiobook, you said, that piece of shit. You saw the first pass, piece of shit. I'm sure a lawyer said, do you want to call Nick Nolte a piece of shit? And like, yeah. Like, you know, and you get like empowered, like, ah, ha, ha. It's like, no, but everyone is going to see this. It's like, that's, I was aware of that. I think that was, I'm happy that I was aware of that.
Do you think that trauma brought you towards comedy, or was comedy just something that was helpful to process it?
I think that trauma is the fire in which we are all forged in a way, right? We all have it. It doesn't make a difference, like what mine is, what yours is. It's like, how do we respond to it? How do we get over it? And you know, it's called Joyful Recollections of Trauma, not just Recollections of Trauma, right? And it was like, because I always look back on my life in this way. Like my grandma told me, never open the door to strangers because there's a rogue butcher out there who kidnaps children, grinds them up into chopped meat. And they did catch him because when one of the moms went to go buy some chopped meat, she was making a patty, and the patty looked up at her and said, "Mommy?" You know, and I was like, and forever I bought that story hook, line, and sinker. It makes no sense. That is, I think it's funny, and that is traumatic. So that's the book, it's like, but like, yeah, so it's like, I'm looking at those things, and I'll tell you that story right now and be like, that was a hilarious moment, but it also did fuck me up. I was like, I gotta lock these doors. The butcher is out there gonna make me into chop meat.
There were two important moments when I learned that adults could lie to you.
Yeah.
One was when I saw Billy Crystal doing an interview, and he said that City Slickers 2 is even better than the original. And then I was like, I saw it. It was like, it was in the time when there was like a movie on HBO, and so like 5 minutes before, because they had to fill the time before. Right. I literally ran up the stairs and was like, Mom, Dad, you'll never believe it. Billy Crystal says City Slickers 2 is better. it's like you. Oh, I love that. Like, I will tell you this. I don't know if I've ever talked about this. When I was a kid, I loved like the idea of meeting a celebrity, going and having an interaction with a celebrity. It felt so foreign to me. And there's a book called How to Meet Celebrities. And the book was like, never approach a celebrity with like their career. So I wouldn't come up to you and be like, oh, I love your podcast. I loved your book. Because you're like, oh, thanks, kid. And you'd walk away. I'd have to come at you and be like, I find out your interest. So they'd always put in the book, like, here's a celebrity, here's their interest. So it's like, okay, you're going to approach Nick Nolte. He loves speedboats. Like, hey, Nick, you see that new speedboat that came out? And he'd be like, oh, this guy knows. We're buddies now. And so like that was the way in. That's how you meet these celebrities. It was like beyond the picture. But I remember this, and I've been trying to find this book forever. The only person in that book they said, do not approach, Billy Crystal. Huh. It was the only, like they had a meter on each person, like friendly, not friendly. Billy Crystal was the only one who was like, do not approach. They broke the mold. It wasn't like one. It was, I never had seen anything like it, and I was shocked. I was like, I love Billy Crystal. You look marvelous? What do you know? I couldn't believe, I still don't believe it. And I'm a Clippers fan, and he's a Clippers fan, and I saw him. I was on a vacation, and he was on a vacation, and I was like, do not approach. I'm not gonna. I know. You just like you walk up to him, you just go, Jews in baseball, and he's like, Jews in baseball, Jews in baseball. The other moment that taught me that adults could lie is my grandmother said something to my mother. She was telling a long story, and then we were like pulling out of the driveway of my grandparents' house. And my mother just rolled up the window, and she just turned to me and my sister and goes, she's lying. She made that up.
Well, you know what? I think as I became a parent, I realized you have so much power over your kids. And in a wonderful way, like they look up to you, and you want to set a good role. You want to be a good role model for them, but you also can tell them whatever you want. It's like that's why every now and then you'll see a story where it's like, this family taught their kid how to speak Wookiee, and that's the only language that they speak. And you're like, oh, God. And I have that power. We all have that power. They look to us. And you got to wield it the right way. And I think some parents can abuse it and not. And, I forget sometimes that, but it's a great reminder because I'll say like, oh, I was making a joke. I mean, this is going to sound really dark. I was making a joke, and I was like, yeah, it was you and your other brother and this guy. And my son was like, what do you mean my other brother? I'm like, oh, we don't talk about him. They're like, what do you mean? I was like, we lost him. And it was like, and I thought I'm doing a fun bit. And then like 30 seconds passed, he's like, Dad, are you being serious? And I'm like, oh, no, I was just totally joking. But I was like, oh, if I leaned into it, I could be like, yeah, we lost your brother at the zoo. And he would forever go like, yeah, I did have a brother that we lost at the zoo. And that's Santa Claus to a certain degree, like, right? I mean,
well, one of my favorite, I'm not a parent, except to a little dog, which does not count, and I know that. But one of my favorite things to observe as a non-parent is catching little moments in public where a mom or dad just lies to the kid, like a lie in the version of, that ice cream store isn't open today. Oh, yeah. I love just little lies to grease the skids of life. Like, oh no, it's too hot out. They're not making soup there.
Yes. Oh, I mean, yeah, those lies I do tell. I mean, you have to.
It's awesome.
But the problem is Amazon, because it's like, oh, well, I can't go to the store. Like, we'll just go on Amazon. I'm like, shit. So it's like everything is at their disposal in a different way. But yeah, I do a lot of those lies. Like, oh, yep, can't make it. It's like, check the ways. Too much traffic. But those are good lies.
Those are great lies.
They're great lies.
They're great lies. You're in Twisters.
I am. Yeah, it's my blockbuster summer, so finally Hollywood has acknowledged everything. I love being in Twisters. I loved every moment of it, and it happened in such an interesting way. I was going down to Oklahoma to shoot a Super Bowl commercial. I was directing and starring in the Super Bowl commercial, and I was on the plane to Oklahoma on a Monday night, and everyone around me has Final Draft open. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on in Oklahoma? Why is everyone have we're going to Oklahoma. I was like, weird, and I talked to my DP, and I'm like, did you see everyone have Final Draft open? He's like, yeah, I don't know what that was. And I was like, I don't know what that is. And then the next day I get a phone call. Hey, are you in Oklahoma? And I'm like, yeah. It's like my agent called me. He's like, well, you were sitting next to the director of Twisters on the airplane. He wants to write you a part in Twisters. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And then I talked to somebody like in Oklahoma. I was like, they want me to be in this Twisters movie. He's like, oh, it's a Netflix series. I'm like, all right, cool. I was like, Twisters. I didn't know. And then all of a sudden I see it's like $150 million movie that they shut down the Oklahoma City airport for this scene that they wrote for me to do with Glenn and Daisy and everybody in the movie. And it was like, again, I didn't think about it. I didn't know. And then all of a sudden, more than anything I've ever done in my life, everyone saw Twisters. Like everyone, to a point that it was like my phone was blowing up. I was like, oh, this is what it would be like to be like in a Marvel movie. I've never experienced like hundreds of texts. Everyone, and like old people. Like I got a text from an 80-year-old like friend of my parents. They're like, I went to the movies. Like, you did? I didn't even know that you're going to the I was surprised that people were out in the cinema. Like they were, and everyone was like, this is great. And it was the craziest experience.
Did you get to kiss Glenn Powell?
I did. It's cut out of the movie. Here's the thing that was the best part. I don't want to spoil the movie, but
tornadoes.
And we're shooting this scene, and I'm a traffic cop, and I'm getting into it with Glenn, and Glenn has this truck that drills itself into the ground.
And he doesn't follow the rules.
He's a tornado wrangler. His rules are,
it's sky law.
Yeah, that's it.
It's just high pressure, low pressure. He's the only rule that counts.
Mother Nature is the only person that tells him what to do, and he doesn't even listen to her. And so it starts drilling into the thing, and the director comes up to me. He's like, "Why don't you just say, what the fuck?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "No, do it." And I'm like, "Isn't it like a PG movie?" He's like, "Yeah, but you'll be the only fuck in the movie." And I was like, "What?" Now it got awesome. I was like, I'm already having so much fun. I'm in Twisters. Frank Marshall is there. I'm like, this is the coolest thing. They're shooting on film, and then I get to say fuck. And then all of a sudden, I see him go to the little area where the monitors are, and then a big conversation is happening. And it feels like people are like, no. We've gotten through the entire. I'm in literally the last scene of the movie. I think I might be the last spoken line in the movie. And you see a bunch of people like pointing at me, going, and I'm like, they don't want me to say fuck. And the director comes back over and he's like, "Wait, you gonna say fuck?" I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, you'll say fuck." And I was like, "All right." And it's like this movie is like on 1 or 2 takes. It's not like we're doing 50 takes, a bunch of coverage. It's like, I said fuck. And if you watch that movie, it cuts out right before I say fuck. Fuck is not in the movie. And for good reason. I watched it. It would be, for a movie where people are getting sucked up into the sky, dual tornadoes, fire tornadoes, for the guy at the airport at the end to be like, what the fuck? You'd be like, wait, that pushed the button? It's like, and it's almost like you got so far to then hit the fuck button on me. It's like, so yeah, I didn't get to say my fuck. And I thought, well, it would definitely be in the gag reel. Well, it's not in the gag reel because I think it falls into the same thing. It's not a family movie if I'm saying fuck.
No, that's the thing about America. You can watch a person get sucked up into a fire tornado while screaming. That's just good, wholesome family fun. But to swear.
Yeah. No, can't do it.
Can't do
I
it.
mean, now I wish I was in an earlier scene and I watched somebody get sucked up and go, whoa, what the fuck? It would have been great there too. I'm available to curse in your big blockbuster films. It was truly though. It's been like it's been hilarious. And then the other thing that's kind of happened that was dumb was, I was walking the red carpet. I have a very small part in this movie. I was thrilled to be in it. I like my part. I love everybody that I worked with. They were amazing.
You became like a family on set, I heard.
Yes. So this is the thing. I worked for a couple of hours. I worked for like 3 hours on one day. But I'm walking down the red carpet. No one knows that. And they're like, oh, he's in the movie because I'm on the sheet of paper that everyone has. Like, come over. What was it like? And I'm like, the best. Everyone. The camaraderie.
I heard Glenn Powell's a prankster.
I'm like, he's the best. He's an attractive guy too. I'm doing all my bits because I'm not going to go like, well, technically I was only there for one day. It's like they're not going to use it. I'm like, everything is great. So at one point they said, what was it like? It was like Entertainment Tonight or something. They're like, what was it like to be a part of this Twisters world? And I said, well, it's not my first time. My mom was actually pregnant during the first Twisters, and that was me. That was me, and the director was like, "We need to find the kid that was in that pregnant woman's belly and put him in the movie." And they did, and that's how I got in the movie. So I'm the only legacy character. I'm the only one, and for some reason that like took off on TikTok. Now Twisters came out in 1994. So, and I thought it was a pretty obvious thing. And so I have done interviews where people are like, and you're the only legacy character. I'm like, and then I don't correct it anymore. I'm like, yeah, the only legacy character. And then I'll have other people like, he's lying. He's lying. I'm like, yes, of course I'm lying.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I have to tell you something right now, which is I saw this reported earnestly.
Yeah.
That you were actually in the first Twisters. Because there was a woman in the movie that was pregnant. That's your mother. Yeah. And I did not interrogate it at all. And I'm realizing now that I simply believed it. And I never questioned. Like, if I'd thought about it for a second, I'd been like, wait, I was alive when Twisters. I was a conscious teen when Twisters came out.
And it's also like, how insane would it be for the director to be like looking like that pregnant woman, find that child. It's such a. I'm prepping for the movie. We need the kid remember that background actress? Give me that kid. That person would be fired.
I just thought, oh, that's so fun. That's so interesting. I really did. I took him. It just skittered. That's what it just skittered across the surface of my mind.
And it's like, and so now I have adopted that I am a legacy character in Twister. I'm like, yeah, I'm in both. If someone says it, if you would have said, oh, and you're in both films, I'd be like, yeah. I did, because now I can't correct it anymore. It's out there.
I like how in Gremlins 2, there were like more gremlins, different shape gremlins, and that's the same approach to Twisters. Yeah. That it's like we need more tornadoes, and we need each tornado to have a little bit of a personality.
Fire Tornado is the best tornado I've ever seen. I love the
cool
Fire
as
Tornado.
hell.
I mean, I saw that movie at the premiere, which was great, but where I really enjoyed it was in 4DX. When the seats are moving around, you're getting sprayed with water that I'm not interrogating where that water is coming from, but you're getting blown with like fans and there's lightning effects. 4DX, that movie was so popular that it just came back out in theaters last Friday again in 4DX, and they play both Twisters. You can go back to back 4DX and Twisters.
That's cool. Yeah. You can get pill packs and spit on your face.
You feel like you're there.
Yeah,
but I mean, I like my kids had a love for a movie. Like they went to that movie, they loved it, and the best part was I forget that my kids are, again, we're talking about young and impressionable kids. One of the final scenes of the movie, the hero of the film, Daisy Edgar Jones, she's she's about to launch her big plan, and I look over at my son. He's like this, oh, please let it work. Please let it work. Please let it work. I was like, wow. That is the magic of movies. I was like, this is the best experience I ever had. That he was there was a lot of doubt in his mind at this plan. Because it's a crazy plan. It's a crazy plan.
It's a crazy plan.
He fucking pulled it off. But to watch him just like, please, 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 please.
Tornadoes are a great villain, you know?
I love Mother Nature
because they don't care.
They don't care.
That's the thing about them. They just don't care. They don't care. They're sociopaths. They're the sociopaths in nature, the tornadoes.
Well, are they, or are they just living their life? And we're like, we're just here. It's like that asteroid in Armageddon. We love something that has no personality coming right at us. It's.
I thought that asteroid was a little bitch. The ones in Deep Impact, the ones in Deep Impact were kind of pretentious. They were asteroids with a
very.
That's. Chris, we've talked about shooting the dart at me when we're going long. Could you at least wait till I'm speaking and not our guests?
No, you got you on you. I think.
Okay. I see why he did it.
I liked it. I liked it all.
Well, we were going to have you rank movies, but I feel like we ran out of time because we had so much fun talking about other things.
I love talking to you. So it
was a good time.
It was a good time.
If you had to choose Dances with Wolves or Forrest Gump.
The worst. But that's the battle of the worst.
I know. That's why it's fun.
I guess if I had to choose between them.
You're just going to watch. You have to watch one every day for a year.
Okay, well it's gonna be Forrest Gump, because at least I could just focus one day on the music, and the music is not bad. I can look at the marvel at the CGI technology, learn a little bit about our history, and really make a good thesis about Jenny and her AIDS, where she get it from, why. Write some fan fiction on that.
Dances with Wolves is a rough rewatch. It's tough.
I'm over Kevin Costner. And I feel like Horizon. It's like it's like he lost all of his money on it. Yeah, don't make a fucking 6-hour movie. Like anyone who would have been like, hey, should I spend $45 million on my own movie on a 6-hour film? The answer would be no. But he did it. I don't feel bad for that. Like if he said, I spent $45 million on a 90-minute movie, I'm like, oh, that sucks. I appreciate it. But a 6-hour movie is egregious. Like that's like, you should lose $45 million.
Right.
Like you should be banned from, that's a bad idea.
Aaron Sorkin has told this publicly, so I can share it here, but he when I was working on the newsroom, we tell the story about how he basically went into a hotel room, did a bunch of drugs, and came out with like a several 100-page script.
Yeah.
And Rob Reiner took this loaf of script and said, this 100 pages, this love story, I'm going to make a movie out of that.
Wow.
And Aaron Sorkin, who uses the whole Buffalo, said, well, I'm going to use the rest to make the West Wing, which is interesting.
So American President and then
West Wing were from the same kind of drug-fueled, very long writing session. But the point being is Kevin Costner needs somebody to come in and say, 6 hours? No, sir.
Yeah.
Listen, your actors need somebody in their life who's like, I don't give a fuck that you were in that movie about baseball.
I just watched it last night. Bull Durham. I've never seen it. It's a lot about fucking, less about baseball. And he's also in Field of Dreams, right? That's another. He's done a lot of baseball movies.
The other ones where he's a pitcher on the mound. One Day in Baseball. Nope.
One Day in Baseball.
For the love of the game.
All right, so he's in a lot of.
He loves baseball.
Like
baseball
he's like our representative of man and sport. Golf movie, Draft Day. He's like, and there's something about him where I'm like, I watch Bull Durham. I'm like, what the fuck is this movie about? It's like Susan Sarandon's fucking Tim Robbins, and to make him a better baseball player. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool, and that's really the premise of that's the plot. And then like Bull Durham, who's not a character, by the way. I thought Kevin Costner's name was Bull Durham. It's not. He also is helping Tim Robbins be better at baseball. And then when Tim Robbins leaves town, he starts fucking Susan Sarandon in the end of the movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, what was this movie? What did I just watch? I enjoyed the hell out of it. And I think that's what I miss is like that kind of movie star energy where I'm like, none of this works as a film, but I'm just watching.
Time.
Yeah, had a great time.
Yeah, sometimes I see some of those like masculine Kevin Costner movies, like shut up and kiss a boy. All right,
Kevin Costner. If just a poll to the women, not that we're going back to Bull Durham. I am going back to Bull Durham. If a man said to you, what I like? Soft, wet, long kisses. Like that's what he says to Susan Sarandon. I'm like, I would be grossed out. I'd be like, ugh. Like on my first meeting with you, like if you're giving me I believe a Christmas to be celebrated on December 25th. I believe in pot roast, American, and I think he says pussy in it too. He says a lot of things. I'd be like, I'm not turned on by this man at all. But long, wet kisses made me really, I was like, ugh. I'd be grossed out by it.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Would you like to see, but you would like to see him kiss a guy?
I just think it's like, it's enough already. We get it. You got a hat on. You're in Yellowstone. You're such a real man. Kiss a boy. Let's see how much of a man you really are. Thank you, Paul.